Hey everybody, this is Wake Angel 2001. I'm wearing my movie Sonic shirt still, and this is my vlog about the Sonic the Hedgehog movie. Okay, so, just to get this out of the way, it's a good movie. It is totally worth watching, and it kind of sets itself for a sequel, and I believe that it deserves that sequel. So, yes, it's good. Go see it. If you have not yet seen it and you don't want the plot details spoiled for you, then click off this video and come back when you see it. I myself have like 5 or 6 review videos that I want to watch now that I've had a chance to see it. But before I get to that, I'm going to chip in my own 2 cents so that my opinion doesn't get tainted by others. Okay, so let's just go over this movie more or less beat by beat. I think the opening is its weakest point, unfortunately. It has this thing where Sonic's running around the city getting shot at by Eggman's egg pod. Oh yeah, Sonic actually does call Dr. Robotnik Eggman. But in the movie, the reason he does so is because the drones that Dr. Robotnik uses are egg-shaped. So because he uses egg-shaped weapons, he calls him Eggman. That's how he gets his name in the movie. You know, because I'm guessing Jim Carrey wasn't willing to put on the weight he needed to get an egg-shaped body, and he couldn't do his dancing while wearing a fat suit. So yeah, so if I say Eggman or Robotnik, I'm going to switch between the two of them because he does legitimately go by both names in this movie. But yeah, we get a cold open. We get one of those, so you may be wondering how I found myself in this situation kind of things. But this particular cold opening is only a few seconds long, and then it goes back to the scene where you want the movie to begin. That perfect, beautiful-looking green hill stage for what I'm going to call South Island, because it's always kind of been accepted that the first game takes place in South Island, so I'm calling it South Island. Where Sonic is running around and being a little kid. So this is so that's really where the movie gets started. And we got Sonic as a little kid, and he is adorable. Not quite proportioned the way that he was in the Sad AM cartoon. You know, his little hands and feet are smaller, but you know what? It's fine. He's still cute. I liked it. Now this is where we get into our first major named character. Alright, sorry about that. I just wanted to, I just called up so I could look some stuff up on the computer so I can get names right. Okay, so as I recall, little baby Sonic has a parental figure on South Island, in Longclaw, who is an owl. And she's kind of awesome looking, but she kind of looks like she stepped out of the Guardians of Ga'Hoole movie. Because, like, she really looks like an owl. Now, there's no stranger to owl characters in Sonic. Apparently, the villain, Dr. Fukurakov of the Battlebird Armada, was an owl. And on the good guy side, we may remember Old Man Owl from the Sonic OVA, and Harvey who helped Silver meet up with the Secret Freedom Fighters and all that stuff in the Archie comic. And there might be other characters that were incidentally owls over the course, but those are really the major ones. And funny thing, she's the first female owl that I'm aware of in Sonic continuity, so that's kind of interesting. And she's kind of cool. Although it does fall into the cliche where she's like trying to keep Sonic a secret because he has this power, and she's afraid people will harm him to get this power from him. So she wants to keep him hidden away. It's kind of like the Frozen, conceal it, don't feel it. It's a little tiny bit cliche, like the overprotective parent character. Although she's totally justified because within the first few moments of the movie, they get attacked by a clan of echidnas. I was pretty floored to see them getting attacked by a whole bunch of echidnas. Apparently they're not at the brink of extinction in this continuity. Yeah, like they're all, and they have like tribal paint and they're wearing masks. I think this might be Pacha Comics' tribe like from Sonic Adventure, the echidnas that summoned chaos and destroyed themselves, and Knuckles is their last descendant, all that stuff. I think that might be what it is. Either that, or they're the Nocturnus clan echidnas who end up getting in the Twilight Cage. I'm not sure if they would want to go Nocturnus clan, because the Nocturnus clan is too similar to the Dark Legion, and the Dark Legion runs into the Ken Penders thing, and nobody wants to deal with that guy. But I digress. And oh yes, when I wasn't doing the car vlog, I said that I had a new headcanon, as a new fan theory as to why Dr. Robotnik puts animals in his robots. I had previously thought that he was using the animals as a substitute CPU, because in terms of energy consumption and processing power, the mammalian brain is more efficient and powerful than a computer. Like, for the size and amount of energy that it needs, it beats computers. So, but this movie has made me think differently, because Sonic has energy within him. He has a ton of energy. I'm gonna just say this now. One of his quills comes off, and Robotnik is able to tap into the energy in that quill and use it as a power source that makes his hover pod thing super powered and allows him to keep up with Sonic the course of the final act. And so I'm thinking, maybe this energy is actually contained within all inhabitants of Sonic's world, and Sonic just happens to have a whole bunch of it in his body, which is what gives him his superpowers. Whereas, a random animal has enough to power a single robot, perhaps Sonic himself can power an empire. That's what I think it is. Now that this has been revealed, I'm guessing that could be the explanation of why there's animals inside of the Badniks. But yeah, that's my headcanon. Alright, so when the echidnas all attack, and Longclaw tries to help Sonic escape, but she takes an arrow to the gut. Apparently it's not a fatal shot, because she's able to stand back up and make a last stand against the echidnas as she gives Sonic the warp ring so he can escape. These warp rings work exactly like Dr. Finitivis's warp rings from the Archie comic. You just throw the ring out while thinking of where you want it to go, it opens up into a portal, and you leap through it. I know special stage rings are probably what they'll say they're based off of, but they are 100% identical to warp rings. And apparently they're not that special in Sonic's world, because he does say later in the movie that it's how any sophisticated people travel between worlds. So apparently traveling between worlds is common in Sonic's world. Actually, that might... I'm starting to think that this might be the movie's explanation as to why there's various animal types. Instead of there being a gene bomb that combined human DNA with the biosphere, causing everything to evolve into humanoid forms, I'm guessing that Sonic's world is going to be more like a place where there's a lot of travel between worlds, so all the various different animal types are people from other worlds. Also, she says that our world is on the far side of the universe, and almost nobody would ever think to go there. So it could be that Sonic's just a full-on alien. He's from our world, but he's an alien. This isn't they might be able to retcon it into trans-dimensional beings. Being from another dimension isn't the same as being an alien, technically, because when you're an alien, you're still from this universe, but another planet. When you're from another dimension, you could just be from an alternate version of Earth. I'm not sure if they're gonna retcon that, or say that somebody misspoke, or make it so that it's not that big a distinction, but I'm not sure how they're gonna go. But anyway, Sonic basically lives in a quiet little suburb called Green Hills, Montana. I thought it was the other Green Hills. Isn't there Green Hills in Pennsylvania or Kentucky or something? I forget. But I thought it was that Green Hills, but apparently it's Green Hills, Montana. Actually, you know what? Is there a Green Hills, Montana? I'm Googling it right now. Green Hills, Montana. Huh. Well, there is a Green Hills Ranch in California. The Essence of Montana Living, Green Hills Ranch. Maybe. Yeah, it looks like there is a Green Hills Ranch in Montana, so I'm guessing Green Hills Ranch must be part of Green Hill, the city. Okay, so yeah, let's say that that is a real place. It has to be Green Hill because all Sonic adventures begin in Green Hill. I'm rambling too much. Let's get to this. So Sonic lives for 10 years on the fringes of Green Hill Society, and he pretends that he knows a lot of the people in the town. He calls Tom the main cop the Donut Lord because he has a tendency to talk to donuts. His wife is the pretzel lady because of her yoga. And there's this one guy who's onto him, and he holds up a picture of the Sonic meme, you know, that poorly drawn thing. Like the guys at Sega really must like that meme. First they put it on a t-shirt in Sonic Forces, and now there's actually a guy holding it up. So, yeah, we actually have a guy, like, I would kind of like to see a little short film of that guy going through a montage of trying to trap or prove the existence of Sonic, who he calls the Green Devil. That would be, like, I don't want it to be like a whole sequel, but a short. Like, maybe as promotion for the next film, they can have him doing it on YouTube. Like they can show him setting up some elaborate Rube Goldberg trap that Sonic disables. You know, like, that would be fun. So we get a colorful cast of characters, and Sonic has apparently been living fairly comfortably in a little hidden spot in the forest. So, you know, he does the stuff in the trailer. He reads all the Flash comics. He runs in his little dryer that he uses as a washing machine. His dryer that he uses as a treadmill. He plays ping pong with himself on the Hilltop Zone sign. So, you know, all that stuff from the trailer. But it turns out that what happens is he sees kids playing Little League, and at night when the park is empty, he plays baseball against himself. And after he hits his own home run, and he realizes that he's alone, and he's been alone all this time. And given the nature of his being, he's afraid that if he were to ever encounter anyone, then he would either have to flee to the next planet over, which is filled with mushrooms. I'm going to call it Mushroom Hill, or he's going to be captured and dissected or whatever. So he runs around the baseball diamond until he creates a burst of energy that causes the blackout from the movie. I wasn't expecting that to happen so soon, but it's a surprisingly small plot detail, as apparently everything is up and running by the next day. Although, you know, he put out the Eastern Sea, the Pacific Northwest, so that was a big one. So, when Robotnik and all the government spooks start scanning around, he realizes that he's going to have to go. So he tries to get the ring, but Robotnik, being a genius, is actually zeroed in his location pretty fast. He can't do the teleportation right there in his little hovel, so he goes to the safest place he can think of, Donut Lord's house. And this is the meow scene from the trailer where he gets a tranquilizer dart in the leg, and apparently he can metabolize it away because it was meant to take care of bears. I mean, Sonic is the size of a small child, so but if you get shot by a tranquilizer dart meant to take out a bear, you will freaking die. Like, a human being weighs less than a sixth of what a bear does. So the amount of tranquilizers necessary to put a bear down will stop your heart. Yeah, don't think of this like in the cartoons where somebody takes a dart and they're like, oh, no, you will die. A bear tranquilizer will kill you. But, you know, Sonic, his super fast metabolism compensates, I guess. This is the scene. This is another scene from the trailer where Robotnik comes into the house. He gets punched in the face, and we go off on our little road trip. Because at this point, Sonic can't run because the tranquilizers are still weakening him. Oh yeah, the reason, the impetus for the movie is also in this scene, because Tom is wearing a San Francisco shirt, so when Sonic sees the shirt, he takes a trank in the leg, and he thinks, San Francisco? Then he drops the ring on the floor, and then he drops the rest of his rings through the ring, and then it disappears on him. So his rings are on top of the pyramid-shaped building in San Francisco, and he, you know, can't use them now. So that's the first thing. They gotta get to San Francisco, and we have fun scenes. Of course, Tom gets labeled as a terrorist because he's helping. Blah blah. He's aiding a terrorist. Like, not gonna go good for his. Like, he needs to have a background check in order to be a cop in San Francisco. I don't think he's going to be a cop in San Francisco with suspected of aiding and abetting a terrorist in his background check. But, you know, that might not be an issue. So Sonic and this is the road trip part of the movie. A lot of people were afraid that this was going to be the whole movie, but it's actually a relatively short part of it. It's where we get a lot of fun stuff, like they stop in a dive bar, they get mistaken for hipsters, and Sonic. Okay, I gotta thank X-Men for this, because I'm pretty sure they got this inspiration from the Quicksilver scenes in the X-Men movies. Because Sonic can full-on go bullet time and just stroll around messing with stuff while everyone seems to be frozen in place around him. So like he wraps people up in toilet paper, he pulls a guy's underwear back so that and hooks onto a light fixture, he sticks things on people's heads, like he's just doing this whole if I could save time in a bottle, but they play a different song. Yes, they do play a little mellow melody while he's doing his bullet time sequences, which I do love. And of course he just wolfs down 3 chili dogs, because of course he would want to eat some chili dogs. And yes, they do put a fart joke in later about it. And then they get away from that scene, and Robotnik sends a boss after them. It's a gigantic truck which Sonic manages to break, but then it releases a smaller car-sized robot. And when they manage to take that one out, it releases another robot with 1 wheel. And when they take that one out, it releases the little helicopter drone which lasers off the roof of the car and then leaves a bomb behind. And this bomb, when it explodes, knocks Sonic unconscious. So he manages to get to his sister-in-law's house. And his sister-in-law is a character that I said that everybody's going to hate because she's just really nasty. She wanted her sister to divorce him, like, before the whole terrorist thing. So like, she's just awful. Like, I don't like her. Nobody liked her. So she spends the rest of the movie tied up to a chair, which is fine because nobody likes her. Her daughter is a total sweetheart, though. When they're examining Sonic, she notices that his feet are in really bad shape because the shoes he's wearing are all worn out from running so fast. So the little girl, hearing that his feet are damaged, she runs back to her room and she brings him a pair of the Pumas, basically the red shoes with the white stripe. That's the scene. That's how Sonic gets his red shoes. So it's the first time anyone's given a gift. Like, yay! And I do love that this little girl is so sweet and has this wonderful interaction, and it's so nice, but they do not make the movie about her. I'm sorry, I was so afraid of this becoming Sonic X, but it did not become Sonic X, so yay. They wake Sonic up with smelling salts, then we Then we move on to the San Francisco scenes. This is where they stuff him in a duffel bag and things are awkward. They get to the roof, they recover the rings, hooray! But then Robotnik attacks, all the missiles fire, Sonic does another bullet time sequence, but this is where Robotnik reveals, that he has a trump card. He pushes a button which activates the quill. It turns out that Sonic's energy is contained within every part of him, so one of his quills is basically an infinite energy source. Robotnik finds a way to tap into this, and it allows his craft to move around and keep pace with Sonic. And this is what leads to the big famous chase scene that's in the trailer. So he runs all around the world. He runs to the city. He goes to Egypt. He goes to China. All this grand tour stuff. And the whole time, Robotnik is right on his tail. And by the way, Tim and his wife are falling off the building. Sonic manages to throw a ring out, which sends him back to Green Hills. From China, Sonic throws out one more ring, but then that's when he gets hit with an explosion and falls into Green Hills himself, but, unconscious. In fact, everyone thinks he's dead. So the people of the city all come, when they see Robotnik is menacing Tom, the people in the city are like, hey, we don't know much of what's going on here, but Tom is a good guy, so you must be a bad guy. There is one moment where the guy who's chasing the Blue Devil this whole time, he says, "Yeah, I know him. He is a real thing and not something that I made up." Okay, can you point the chainsaw away from me? Yes, there's a chainsaw involved. So Sonic manages to get up, and he does a total Dragon Ball power-up sequence where he pulls in a whole bunch of energy from around himself, including taking some from Robotnik's pod, and then he does the whole smashing the pod up, and then he opens up a warp ring to the Mushroom Land, and he, boom, sends Robotnik flying into it. So everyone's defeated, Sonic gets to stay there, the military is disavowing Dr. Robotnik's existence, and they're letting Sonic be, because, as long as he doesn't hurt anybody, it's all fine. Let's see how lasts. How long that lasts. Why am I talking backwards all of a sudden? It's a happy ending. He gets to, Tom decides that he's not going to go to San Francisco. He's going to stay being the cop in Green Hills. He converts his attic into a room for Sonic, and everything is hunky-dory. The credit sequence, there's two mid-credit sequences. One being Robotnik. He's in the Mushroom World by himself. He says that his grip on sanity remains solid, which is why he shaved his hair, grew his mustache out to ridiculous proportions, and walks around with Agent Stone, who is a rock that has a face. And oh yes, his assistant is Agent Stone, but I mentioned that in the car vlog. He says, "Want to do some reconnaissance?" And he throws the rock over to... he's throwing the rocks over to the mushrooms to make sure they can support his weight. He says, "I have no equipment, no supplies, and no knowledge of how to get back. A lesser man would die. But I'll be home by Christmas." And he holds up what I thought was a Chaos Drive the first time I saw the trailer. It's the container that has Sonic's quill in it. So, he still has the energy source. So, he has an energy source. He has some he's carrying around a backpack full of equipment he's salvaged from his destroyed ship. And apparently he's been eating mushrooms this whole time. So, I think it's implied that he's going to find a way back to the world by, pulling a Rick Sanchez and making his own portal device using Sonic's quill as an energy supply. That's what I'm going to say. And then there's one more mid/post-credit sequence that got everyone in my theater cheering, and that is the appearance of Tails! A ring opens up, Tails hops out of it, and he has his little device. He says, "He must be here." And then the way he stands, you only see one tail at first, but then his second tail comes out, and he starts flying all helicopter style over into Green Hills. So we are being introduced to Tails! So speculating on sequels, I'm guessing Tails is another person like Sonic, born with abnormal abilities. Not all foxes have two tails, and most certainly foxes can't normally fly by spinning their tails around. And if you allow me to speculate even more, I think Knuckles might also be part of this continuity, in that he might be another anomaly, like all these guys might be anomalies, like people with unusually high energy. In Sonic's case, it gave him super speed. Tails gave him a second tail and the ability to fly, possibly also super intelligence. And in Knuckles' case, it will manifest as his superhuman strength. Like, I'm guessing a regular echidna is no stronger than the standard human, but Knuckles is, boulder-breaking punches. Those are going to be unique to him. And this could also set up a situation where Knuckles would start out as an enemy, because he might be part of this Echidna clan that attacked Sonic and Owl Mom at the beginning of the movie. So there's that. That's where the movie ends. So this was really good. This was not just the Smurfs movie. It wasn't Top, and it played great homage to a lot of things from various points of Sonic the Hedgehog continuity. I mean, I didn't really go point by point through every single Easter egg, but there are tons, trust me. I mean, there's one point where Robotnik is experimenting with Sonic's quills, and he accidentally puts his lights out. When he opens up the fuse box, there's labels in there. One of the labels is Evil Laboratory, and another label is Badniks. So even though he's called a drone expert, and he makes a whole bunch of military drones, he privately refers to them as his badniks. So that's a thing. He calls them badniks. That word is in the movie's continuity. Oh man, so like I said, this is just drawn a whole bunch of speculation. First of all, it has given us another case of Sonic's parentage, because remember, Sonic has never had parents in the video games. He has had parents in the comic book series published by Archie, Bernadette and Jules Hedgehog, 2 of the animated series put out by Deke, his mother Queen Alina and his 2 siblings in Sonic Underground, and his uncle Chuck in the original Sad AM cartoon. But as far as the video games go, he has never had any biological family. It's been implied that he considers Tails to be like an adopted brother, but that's a surrogate. He doesn't have real parents of any kind. And okay, yeah, the owl's not his biological parent either, because I don't think an owl is going to sire a hedgehog, but, he has someone who raised him. And that's a thing that we just don't see in the video games. So I'm really excited to see a sequel now. I want to know what the fate of Longclaw was. Was she killed by the echidnas? Has she been kept prisoner for all this time? Is Tails another orphan that she raised? Was Tails captured by that echidna clan and they helped each other escape? Did she give rings to Tails and that's how he knew to pursue Sonic? I have so many questions. And, that's good. I want more. This movie did not disappoint me, but it left me wanting more. Which is perfect, don't you think? That's exactly how a movie should leave you, so it can set up sequels and all that. Okay, so I guess I said my piece. I've given a plot synopsis, I've expressed my opinions. So yeah, this is great. See this movie, give it money. Make sure that it's profitable so that the studio will want to make a sequel. I mean, they're putting out Peter Rabbit 2. The threshold can't be that high. So, yes, please. Sonic the Hedgehog Cinematic Universe. In fact, I don't care. That mushroom planet that you sent Robotnik to, say that's a Mushroom Kingdom. Mario's World. Sure, let's have a whole Smash Brothers universe come from this. Crossover with Detective Pikachu, or have in the opening credits, when you zoomed out to the Sega logo, you saw all the little games. Let's have Golden Axe. Let's have frickin' Nights into Dreams, Ristar, That the game with the air pirates. Yeah, let's do all that. Do it. Sega Cinematic Universe. I'm ready. Give it to me. This is Wake Angel 2001, signing off.